Most women try to build success from the outside in instead of the inside out. They chase tactics, they get strategies, they do actions, they get better at sort of capabilities like marketing and sales, and they're getting all these strategy coaches. When I first was in business for the 4 years, I did spend $300,000 on all these strategy coaches. I was doing everything under the sun to figure out how to do these actions, how to get better at marketing, how to get better at sales, thinking that was the answer that I was going to receive this amazing breakthrough in my business from. Even once you've aligned as a woman, most businesses fail because they're copying someone else's blueprint instead of building their own. Magnetism isn't just another strategy. It's a way of creating, becoming the woman that your vision requires. This episode is for the woman who feels like she's doing everything right. She's showing up, she's working hard, she's following the strategy, she's doing what she's told like a good girl, but she's not attracting the clients, the income, the business that she knows she's capable of. By the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly why that's happening and the 3 shifts that you need to make to change it right now. I'm going to break down why you may be in this place where you're hustling, you're working hard, you're learning more, you're copying what's working for others, but maybe it's not for you. And it's just tough. It's forced, it's stuck, it's yo-yoing, it's difficult, it's a struggle. And I'm going to help you know how to not hustle, but to get into a place of magnetism, because I believe you can have extraordinary success that is natural, that is easeful, that flows to you. And it's not about what you're doing, it's about who you're becoming and who you are operating as. And that's the woman who naturally attracts clients and money and opportunities, is when you know how to really activate that magnetism. And I'm going to go through the 3 pillars that are going to work through for that for you today, and how to actually apply this in your life. So the first one is about becoming the magnetic woman. Most women try to build success from the outside in instead of the inside out. They chase tactics, they get strategies, they do actions, they get better at sort of capabilities like marketing and sales, and they're getting all these strategy coaches so that they can try and build this success or force the success. But that's not the way. And you've tried it and you know that's not the way. This is about, the solution is becoming the woman that your vision requires, becoming the woman your business requires, doing the deep inner work. And once we change what's inside, the outside will change as well. You see, in your brain, you have your unconscious and your superconscious inside you. You've got these 2 modes of being. And depending on whichever mode you're operating from in yourself and in your business is going to determine, what the identity is going to determine what your values and beliefs and, your feelings are. And then that's going to determine what your capabilities are or incapabilities are. And that's going to determine your actions, and that will change your results. And a lot of the time we try and change the environment or just your actions, or we work backwards, but we cannot do that because your identity will override it each and every time. Our identity is who we operate as and how we operate. And this is essential. And this is the key that broke things through for me. So when I first was in business for the 4 years, I did spend $300,000 on all these strategy coaches. I was doing everything under the sun to figure out how to do these actions, how to get better at marketing, how to get better at sales, thinking that was the answer that I was going to receive this amazing breakthrough in my business from. Now, all it actually ended up doing was me feeling more and more insecure, more and more fear of doubt, more in disbelief of myself, because I was going from 0K to 2K to 7K to 1K, and I was yo-yoing all over the place, and I felt so stuck. And often the harder I worked, the more that I did, the worse it got. Now, I got this strategy coach and I thought, this is the person. I'm going to make sure, and I'm going to be a pro, and I'm going to do everything that they say, and I'm going to break through with this. And I hired this coach, and I had to pay $5,000 a month for this coach. And for 4 months, by listening to them, I actually got into $20,000 of debt. I had 4 months of $0 in my business. It was the worst that it had ever been. Why was that? Even though I was doing all this strategy, I was doing all this action, why? And it was meant to be the best strategy ever. Why did it not work? Why was all this hustle not actually getting me anywhere? And when I looked at what was happening and I learned about this unconscious and the superconscious, my unconscious was running rampant. I was in this identity of fear, survival. My 3-year-old self was driving the car of my business, and it was smashing a whole lot around me because it doesn't know how to drive. The 3-year-old within me, you can't see over the steering wheel. You can't reverse properly. You don't know how to use anything, and it hurts you and it hurts everyone around you, and it's not going to be functional. You're in survival. And so I was sitting there in insecurity, in fear. I was thinking and doubting, like, I don't have the ability to do this. I'm not a great coach. I was comparing myself to him and that he's better and I'm not. And he was telling me to do these strategies and these things and even run my business in a way that wasn't aligned to me. And so I was trying to get on sales calls, but I felt so insecure when I was on them. So I wasn't very capable at the sale. And I was so desperate for money and needing more that it meant I was in this real fear vibration. And then my action was like underneath it. There was this sort of desperation and fear. Everything I did in that identity of my unconscious was just in lack and fear and scarcity and insecurity and doubt. And it went through and filtered all the actions and the strategies. And so it meant that I made $0 in 4 months, the worst that I've ever had in my business. Now, I learned about the superconscious within that month. And the superconscious is your genius self. It's your intuition. It's your powerful self. It's your limitless capability. It's the, playing in the realm of the gods capability of yourself. And I learned about this month that I was working with this coach. And I started to back my own power. I started to see myself as powerful, not as this weak being all the time. I started to actually see that I wanted to follow this coaching and do these things from what I loved and from this sense of completion and wholeness and abundance. And I wanted to serve these people to help support them. And I loved transforming lives. And I started looking at what I wanted and loved from this place of power and abundance and wholeness, not fear and lack and doubt. And as I did that and I was on the calls, I was really devoted to these people and I was serving them with all my heart, and it wasn't preoccupied with the money side. And as I came from the identity of my power and my superconscious, in that 1 month of practicing that and not being always in my unconscious and pivoting into my superconscious, I created a $20,000 month. And this was after 4 years of never getting anywhere near that. And after 33 years of problems with money all my life, from that moment on, I never struggled with money and my business in that way ever again. Because I learned how to become a magnetic woman and shift out of my unconscious and my fear and into my power and abundance and take action from that place. And that is what helped me become a magnetic woman. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you become and who you're operating in and out of. And so the biggest thing for you to look at just with this right now is look at yourself through the day and see, where am I getting into my maybe limited, my unconscious, my fear self, and just notice it, witness it, say, oh wow, see it, be aware of it, and pivot back to, if I was looking at my most powerful self, if I was looking high above in the sky from this really high perspective, how would I see life? What would I love to do? Come from that place and you'll see the complete and utter difference. So that is the first piece about becoming a magnetic woman. The next one is about building a magnetic business. Even once you've aligned as a woman, most businesses fail because they're copying someone else's blueprint instead of building their own. And I'm going to support you in building a business that is an authentic expression of you. So you stop copying and you start creating, and you build from your own DNA and your own blueprint. You see, when I was with that coach that I just mentioned, he was telling me that I had to be a strategy coach. I had to teach people these strategies. And my background was in psychology. My background was in the inner world and the inner game. And so I didn't feel at the time that that was really what I was excited about. That was my capability. It wasn't what I was being put on this earth for. It wasn't what I was passionate about. It wasn't my dharma. It wasn't my purpose. It wasn't my nature. Nothing about it was. I wanted to help women become resilient. I wanted to help them become powerful. I wanted to help them work on the inner identity and psychology that was holding them back. He said, no one will buy the psychology. No one buys the energy. They don't buy that stuff. So for that 4 months, I was listening to him, trying to do what he told me that was against my DNA. It was against my blueprint. It was building a business. It was against who I am and what I stand for and my background and everything, my gifts. So it wasn't working. And in that month, when I pivoted and I just started to listen to, what am I passionate about? What am I excited about? What is my gift? What do I feel really great and strong in? What do I feel is my dharma? And I went into teaching more of the energetic. I went into teaching more of the psychology of business. That is when my business exploded and I had a 20K a month and beyond. And it wasn't just in the business arena. When I first started my business, I was in health coaching. And when I was a health coach, I became a health coach because this coach that I had, the first coach I had at the time, told me that I had to choose a niche that was really tangible. And I had to be a weight loss coach because, I didn't have my husband at the time. I didn't have, my son was just young, so I couldn't be a parent coach. She said all these things I couldn't be. I could only be a health coach because I had lost weight. Now, when I started my business, my son, I broke up with my husband when I was 6 months pregnant. I had my son by myself. I started my business when he was 6 weeks old. I pulled myself out of a depression. There was so much resilience that I did to get through that time. And I was very passionate about helping women be empowered and teach resilience. But she thought that was intangible. No one's going to buy that. So I listened to her. I paid her all this money. I did what she told me, but it wasn't my DNA. It wasn't my blueprint. And I listened to what she said. I tried it for a few months, but it was so hard. It was hustle. It was tough. It was not a coherent signal in line with what I wanted to bring to the world. And I ended up shifting and going, no, I'm going to do resilience. I'm going to go into what I feel. I'm going to be a women's empowerment coach. The moment I did that, I became so passionate. I had so much energy. Clients were flying in just because of the sense of passion and power and energy they sensed from me. And I expanded my business so fast because it was built on my DNA and my passion and me. And I wasn't copying something else and someone else. I was following my intuition and my own inner guidance. And so you need to know yourself really deeply. And you need to know your person, an ideal client that you work with, the promise that you have for them and the journey that you're going to take them on. When you know that, but it's bedrocked in your DNA and your blueprint, that is what becomes a magnetic business. If you don't have the magnetic woman, you're going to just be a hustler if you've got these other elements. But if you don't have the magnetic business, you're going to be unprofitable. You might be, aware of yourself. You might know how to have power in your own being. But if you don't know how to monetize it, you're not going to be profitable. So this magnetic business is super, super important. And the last one I want to share with you today is broadcasting a magnetic brand. Even with the right magnetic woman and the right business, most people will stay invisible because they never are known for anything specific. So if you don't have the magnetic brand, but you have the other elements, you may be invisible and you may be the best kept secret in your space as your business owner. But if you don't have this element, no one's going to know about you. So we want to help you become known for something that matters and become truly unforgettable. And I want to ask you, what do you want to become known for? What is one clear message, clear idea that you can consistently let it out there and put out there and help people be really clear? Because clarity and not complexity is what really creates magnetism. You see, with a magnet just here, this magnet, it gets near each other and it just naturally flows towards each other. Client, abundance, opportunities, they just naturally come. Why does this happen? Because there's a coherent signal pointing in the same direction. If it's a mixed signal and it's pointing in different directions, then it does not matter what you do, it will repel and you will not connect those two together. If you have a brand that is giving mixed signals, and it's not clear and there's complexity and you don't even know what you really stand for, you're not going to have a magnetic brand. You need to stand for something bigger than yourself. And this is really about, in your brand, you becoming a leader for something, you becoming a thought leader, you can becoming a powerhouse and having this conviction. And then the right people are going to come to you and attract you, and the wrong ones are going to repel. You don't have to please everyone, but you're going to please the right ones. And you're going to build a movement. You're going to build believers, not followers. You're going to build something that they want to get behind and really believe in, have this movement, not just an audience. And this comes when we actually connect to something that's, the vision beyond the vision, not just I want to make some money or I just want to create something that helps me and my family. Like, we want to see what's the bigger, grander vision. What's the thing that people, you want to stand for, you want to be remembered for, your legacy work. When you really connect to this higher level thing that you're going to take a stand for, a movement that you're going to build, when you activate that level of passion, you're going to get up and be so motivated and so excited beyond a shadow of a doubt. And you're going to create ripples and have an abundance of clients and people and potential flowing to you. But we really need to know what that core message is. For me, for a little while in my business, there was a period where I was sort of making it about just, I want this launch and I want to create this amount of money for my son and this and that. And it felt a bit flat. Even when I actually created those things, it felt flat. I'd lose the momentum. I'd lose the motivation because I didn't have a vision beyond the vision beyond the vision. I didn't have this stance of, I'm going to be a leader and I'm going to take a stand for something and I'm going to make a movement. And once I started to uncover what that was, to uncover what's my movement, uncover what do I care about, uncover what do I really get passionate about, what am I going to stand against, what am I going to stand for, what am I going to fight against in this industry, and what am I going to go for? Once I really activated that level of leader in me and that level of my brand's voice within me, that is when my motivation skyrocketed. That's when my passion and power skyrocketed. That's when my message got super clear. And that is when my brand began to explode. And also within that, I started taking bigger, scary leaps to be on a podcast that, was with a big name brand, or go and speak out and share something online that I felt really scared to say. And I was worried that it was going to make everyone hate me, but they ended up loving it because there was a sense of I need to stand for this bigger perspective, this bigger movement, and I'm not going to let my little fears or these little things get in the way. I'm here for something greater. And so not just our motivation, but our actual inner desire and our passion and our courage increases. And so it's so vital for you to really build that magnetic brand as well. You see, magnetism isn't just another strategy. It's a way of creating, becoming the woman that your vision requires, and really focusing on your identity before strategy. Because again, with magnetism, once you do that, your inner world is in alignment to what you're creating in your business, and it becomes magnetic. There's no mixed signals. And you're also going to build a business that is an expression of you and not someone else's blueprint, but it's your uniqueness. And you're going to feel super inspired, not misaligned. You're not going to be that exhausted, depleted plateau feel that you've had. You're going to expand because of that. And again, there's a coherent signal inside of you and your business, so you become magnetic. And then you're going to broadcast the brand that makes you known for something and not everything, but you're going to stand for something. You're going to become a leader in whatever it is that you are standing for. And that's going to be that magnetic brand that is going to cut above the noise. It's not complex. It's super simple and clear, and it's going to be powerful. And when you become the magnetic woman and build that business and broadcast that brand, everything is going to become more aligned. You're going to be more authentic. You're going to be more magnetic to clients, to opportunities, to abundance in all forms. So here is just one action for you to go home and have a look at today. Where are you forcing and pushing and feeling stuck right now in your life and in your business? Ask yourself, how can I flow here instead? And your intuition, your genius is going to start to help you see how to create that flow and ease instead of that force and hustle. Stop chasing success. Start becoming the woman that success is naturally drawn to.